Hello there ladies and gentlemen, I'm Paul TX141 Walsh, welcoming you to an all new Ace in a Day gameplay for the arcade mode of War Thunder. In today's episode we'll be flying out in the Supermarine Spitfire Mark 1A, the Tier 2 battle rating 2.3 British fighter aircraft. Now I've already reviewed this aircraft and you may see that review using the link in the top right corner of your screen as displayed now. It's a bit of a dated review but I think it is still rather relevant and highly accurate, as the gameplay today is going to demonstrate. All the items covered in the review will be exhibited throughout the course of today's gameplay. But we're not here today to talk about the gameplay, but instead it's about time I provide you with an update as to what's happened over the last 3 months and why I had to go on quite an extended hiatus. But before we go any further, let us get our plane up into the skies, quickly talk about our setup and then get into the thick of the update. Today's gameplay is brought to you from the ground strike map Rice Terraces. For this we'll be using the following setup. Stealth belts for our Browning 7.7mm machine guns. Reason being, over time, experience has shown to me that these belts are the most powerful against all given types of foe in the sky. For our gun convergence we're using a 400m gun convergence, as typically in the Spitfire Mark 1A we will prefer to turn fight with our foes, or at least keep them at closer ranges regardless of the type of engagement. And that can be attributed to the fact that the Browning 7.7mm machine gun has a lower effective range compared to the higher caliber weaponry, i.e. 12.7mm weaponry plus, that you're going to see at your battle rating and tier. Whereby when you start shooting at foes at distances in excess of 650 meters, that's where it's particularly noticeable, you will note that you do not only have to provide a lead for your target, but also you have to provide some vertical drop lead, i.e. your rounds begin to drop a little bit in the sky, which can be rather irritating and difficult to counter for at first. As for our fuel load, we are taking the standard, the venerable, 30 minutes of fuel to ensure we can make it to the end of the game unscathed on fuel capacity. And it's a pleasure to be able to say that phrase for the first time in a very long while. And with that, let us talk about what has happened in the last 3 months and essentially go into the update. So winding back the clock, 3 months ago I put out an update video featuring the I-185 M82 in a realistic match where I scored an ace, link available in the top right corner of your screen as displayed now. During that video I pointed out that I was essentially applying for promotion at work, and that as a result I was expecting that my life would become a little bit more hectic perhaps, but the video output would still remain the same. There'd still be the weekend War Thunder video and there'd still be the World of Warships video in the middle of the week. Or perhaps that would be compromised every so often. But regardless, I was hoping it wouldn't have too much of an effect. Once I started to really get into the swing of things and I started picking up more and more work in order to essentially go for the promotion and in general just a busy time at work, what I found is my mind was switching back to the days of university. Now for those who are wondering, well, I spent 3 years at university studying physics and I graduated with a first class degree. Came third in my year if I remember correctly. And all of that was not because I'm a genius as such. I must admit I do have a degree of intelligence, I guess, or at least that's what people have told me in the past. But keeping my modesty in check, what I think really contributed to my success is that I'm one of those people who can go away, shut down everything else in my life when I need to, and focus on one particular thing if it's going to allow me to take a step forward in the world. And I did that with my degree, and I thought I would do the same with the promotion, or at least that's what I felt my mind was telling me to do, as though this is your one shot, go for it. So as a result, when I tried to put together some more videos and I started doing some more commentaries, I actually found myself not enjoying it, and if anything, I actually became frustrated very quickly. Whereby in the back of my head I was telling myself you shouldn't be doing this, you should be trying to approach every evening with a clear head, play games, get all the stress out of your system in order to start again tomorrow, another day at work. So therefore I was actually finding that putting together videos was not causing me stress as such, but what it was doing was essentially not enabling me to rest my mind. Now that sounds crazy because I love putting together these videos and I'm smiling right now as I do this commentary. But hopefully you can understand where I'm trying to go with this. It's the fact that my mind was caught in two places. One half of me was saying you want to do the videos because you enjoy them and you want to try and put out the videos for your followers and whatnot and just continue to help out the world of War Thunder. And on the other side of my mind, I was saying to myself, this is wrong, you shouldn't be doing this, just play video games, just relax, just stop trying to do more work. But that's the funny thing, because what I actually found is, over time, I was actually doing more work outside of my standard working hours, and we're talking about office work. So normally my working hours would be say 8:30 in the morning through to 4:30 in the evening. Some nights I was coming home and still working all the way around to 11:30 at night. And that wasn't just 1 or 2 nights, that was multiple nights in some cases. And it wasn't because I felt that I was being forced as such. I think it was not an addiction either, it was just I really wanted to do the work. I just felt this urge that I wanted to get things out of the way to make things easier the next day. And I just felt as though it was a good intention to do so. There was going to be no reward, wasn't going to get paid overtime or anything, just I wanted to do it. And perhaps that's sick, perhaps that's a sign of my mind working very differently compared to other people, but I guess that's my individualism. Like yours, you may have a different take on that, each to their own, and I respect that. But that was the situation whereby in the end I couldn't bring myself to do any more videos because it was just difficult. My mind couldn't take the idea of doing something other than either trying to switch off or working. And work had to be my day job, not the hobby that is my YouTube channel and whatnot. So with that, what I found very quickly was I was starting to alienate myself from most of the things I typically do. And when I was playing with the friends I normally play with, it was a little bit difficult. I'd normally come on the microphone in a very sort of split mood, whereby I could be happy one moment and then just throw my temper out the window. Even if I was having a good game, I'd still just snap suddenly. And it was because of being highly strung and constantly thinking about the promotion opportunity and whatnot. And that goes to show you how my mind was geared so heavily towards we're going for that promotion, we're going for that promotion. So in the end, yeah, it got to a little bit of a breaking point in my mind, but I stabilised myself out and realised you just go for this. Once it's done, it's done. And in the end, we got through to the assessment day, we got through to the interview, and I can say that 3 weeks after going for the interview, I got the job. I got promoted to a senior business analyst for the IT company I worked for, previously just a business analyst. And of course with that comes not only the title but also an increase in salary, and it puts a smile on your face to think to yourself every morning when you go into the office, hey, my badge and my email signature now say senior business analyst, and well, that's that. And I must admit that rather than gloat right now, it's not because I don't want to gloat, I just don't think it's all settled in yet, the fact that the last couple of months have just flown by and this has all happened. But then again, I felt exactly the same way at university when it all ended, and I guess it's a rinse and repeat. Things happen so fast in life that sometimes I have to try and sit back and appreciate what has happened. But then again, when we think about it, there's actually quite a nice little parallel that occurred in the world of War Thunder whilst I went on hiatus. And that is the fact that I technically got promoted. Now you're probably thinking at this point, what on earth are you on about? Well, for those who do not know, I'm a content partner with Gaijin.net for War Thunder. So in short, I'm a member of the community who puts together content that helps out the community and helps promote the world of War Thunder. And in my case, that's putting out these YouTube videos, particularly focusing on reviewing planes in arcade air battles. Well, based on that logic, I thought, why not ask the Gaijin community, the Gaijin community team leads, whether I could get more involved over time, take up a more senior position. And in speaking to a couple of the wonderful guys on the forum, they informed me that vacancies were coming up for the community helper role, which is essentially the same as what I do now, but a little bit more active on the forums and really focusing on providing the helpful guides and whatnot, so the videos, etc. I applied for it and I successfully got the position. So now I'm officially a community helper, whereby I'll be a little bit more active on the forums, I'll be continuing to put out the videos, and on top of that, if you feel that you want to throw any questions my way, feel free to do so, because it'll be against my username on the forum, ITX141, that I'm a community helper. And that's a nice little parallel, because I was thinking about that a little bit as well as going for the main promotion in my main career. Is that I got promoted twice in the space of 3 months technically, and again it hasn't quite sunk in that that's occurred. But with that, you're probably wondering now, well, surely you must be thinking to yourself, do you really want to carry on with YouTube and whatnot? Well, yes, this is a wonderful hobby, but at the same time I think what has to be understood is my mental psyche is that of I dedicate myself to one thing and one thing alone sometimes, and I have to drop everything else in order to do so. It's something, just the way I think in general. And And I guess it can be exhibited in my game style, the fact that I focus very heavily on certain targets. I obviously keep an eye on my 6 and whatnot where possible, but I like to focus on one fight at a time, just a one-shot mantra, bring things down, then move on to the next target, rather than trying to handle multiple foes at once. So I guess it does show through in my gameplay, as you're seeing today. Outside of that then, where do we go next? I mean, what's the future of the channel? Well, we're going to continue, and I'm going to start building the momentum back up. We'll continue with the one War Thunder video a week, once every weekend to begin with, and I'm going to go back to my roots. The focus will be arcade air battles and reviewing aircraft. It's what I love to do. I love talking about the history of the planes, I love providing the guides, I love talking about all the different flight characteristics in arcade. Sounds silly, I know there's going to be some of you out there who are going to criticise that I focus on arcade too much. It's your opinion at the end of the day. I understand, but please respect what I do as well. We're all human here. And I feel this urge in a way to go back to my roots and carry on doing what I promised I'd do ages ago, and that is review every, and at least every fighter, heavy fighter, or anything that can be used technically as a fighter for the arcade air battles of War Thunder. And following that, then potentially expand into another environment or just see where things go. And also focus on providing some tips videos, the old TX's tips series, where I talk about different things to do, that I do in arcade that you may not, and things that may set me apart from the average player compared to some. On top of that, we will also continue with the weekly World of Warships or wargaming videos, and we will be expanding into a little bit of World of Tanks, but the War Thunder videos will come first. And with that, this game is about to end. I believe we're just about to try diving on that P39N0 Aerocobra, but unfortunately time is going to run out. A little bit unfortunate, but we do have 10 kills to our name, quite a nice score. And for reference, this is the first ever game I played after coming back off the 3-month hiatus. But with that, let's go to the post-game stats. With our double ace and 2 assists, we picked up 14,665 silver lions and 2,444 research points. Hopefully the gameplay has been a nice demonstration of the capabilities of the Spitfire Mark 1A to substantiate our previous review, whereby we got to see the Spitfire in a less common role to begin with, the bomber interceptor role, where it's able to take on the more lightly armed and armoured bombers such as the Heinkel 111H and the SB-2M, before we switch to the more standard fighter role, taking on in particular the Yakovlev Yak-1 and the I-16 Type 24. It is a wonderful aircraft and one that I strongly recommend for all those interested in flying the Spitfires and indeed learning how to turn fight against foes. Outside of that, hopefully you've all enjoyed the commentary and finally got a bit more of an understanding as to why I had to go quiet for 3 months. I do apologise not for explaining sooner, but I think you can appreciate now how I became trapped and absorbed in what I was trying to go for over the course of the 3 months, i.e. the promotion, and therefore I was not in the right state of mind to potentially speak out about it until after the event, and that's why we're here now providing this video. Perhaps it's also provided you with a little bit more of an insight into the way I think and the way I work as an individual, and hopefully you can appreciate that. You don't have to agree with it necessarily, but perhaps it provides a perspective as to who I am as an individual. But that's all we've got time for, and hopefully next weekend we'll be taking a look at some French aircraft with the arrival of patch 1.73 quite recently. But, as always, if you have enjoyed this video, why not leave a like, comment or subscribe for future War Thunder videos on my channel, as I'm now back online, ladies and gentlemen, and until next time, take care and good luck in the skies.